twinkle in time, can't give it no credit. I thought about my space, now it really got me down. I got me so down.
Any public comment on this item? Please come forward, state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Scott Shank, 2236 Anderson Avenue. Good evening. I'm a 12-year resident. I live and work here in DuPont. I come here tonight to comment on lack of municipal code on enforcement. The problem statement is the city of DuPont is not enforcing its municipal code on temporary signs posted in the community. Every weekend, all weekend, temporary signs line our main roads to greet our community and visitors. The temporary signs give the impression the community is poorly planned or poorly managed. Last month, the News Tribune featured an article about how Pierce County is enforcing its sign laws on public right-of-ways. Pierce County's sign code is very similar to ours. You must have a permit to post a sign on a public right-of-way. After I read this article, I shared it with City Council. I also wrote to all the organizations that are currently posting signs along the roads, and I asked that they stop posting their signs in our community because it detracts from the beauty of our community. In most cases, I got no response, but in some cases, I got an indication that there was a lack of knowledge of city code, so I did my own research. And the DMC is very clear on signage. You must have an annually approved permit to post signs on public land. It states this requirement 3 times in section 25.115. It is one of 3 requirements for temporary signs. It's also signs in the public right-of-way and developer directional signs. I gave you all handouts so you could look through my information, so all my facts are in your hands. A temporary sign permit per city code is also common with other planned communities in Washington, including Snoqualmie Ridge, Redmond, University Place. I looked at the council and planning agency record, and I found that the temporary signage in discussion goes as far back as 2006, when then Mayor Steve Young identified sandwich board signs as one of 6 issues of community concern that needs to be addressed by government. I also pulled the only city record of a permit, which is with Quadrant. That's in your packets as well. That was last renewed in 2006. It's not active today. Quadrant has a 36-page permit. They last paid $2,900 for 29 signs in the public right-of-way on 1/26/2006. The city has informed me that Quadrant permit is active. I'm not sure why they told me that. Issuing permits is a different challenge. It's one the city must address situationally when a permit is requested. The DMC chapter that defines enforcement is very clear as well, Mayor Jenkins. You are responsible for enforcement of city code. There's no voting, there's no consensus, and there's no policy discussion required. Enforcement is a first step, and it will set the stage in community for involvement and action. Involvement brings the signage stakeholders to work with the city through the permitting process and produce a planned and acceptable solution with the city's planners. It also allows for the cost recovery of permit process and enforcement. Most importantly, it sends a message to the community there is a process that must be followed in order to obey the law. No enforcement is an open invitation to anybody who wants to post a sign at the entrance of our community. No enforcement leaves the city and government leadership compromised, and no enforcement leaves our code and permit process untested. It will just lead to more discussion, more complaints, and it'll circle right back around to the first step, which is enforcement of the code. Thank you.